Hey guys, I'm finally back on YouTube. I've been a little busy over the last few years, so haven't had a lot of time to make any videos. I've actually been building a house along with a big contract from Ducks Unlimited. I was doing 1,000 flags for them. So finally got that done and got the shop all set up here. So I'll be able to start making some more instructional videos. So today we'll be carving this guy. I'm doing a step-by-step video for him, so I hope you enjoy it. So the saws that I'll be using today are the Stihl MSA 140C. That's got a 12-inch bar, just a standard bar. And then the Stihl MSA 120C, and that's got a 12-inch dime tip bar on it. This whole thing could be done with a standard bar, but the dime tip definitely helps to get a little bit more detail. Then we've got our Dremel tool. Just got a small Saburrtooth bit on there. We'll also be using just this little cone bit. And then our die grinder, that's got also a Saburrtooth bit, just a little bit bigger than the Dremel. And then also an eye cutter bit. These are nice for getting around, nice round shape to your eye. Makes it really simple. And of course, always make sure you have some ear protection. Even these electric saws are pretty noisy. Eye protection, of course. We'll be starting with the standard bar with the MSA 140. All right, so we're gonna be carving it out of this half log of white pine here. I like to use a half log when I can instead of a full log because it'll dry a little more evenly. You won't get as much cracking. You might get a little bit in the back, but typically won't get any on the flat side, which will be the front of the carving. So I'll start by drawing some lines on here and show you the first cuts that we're gonna make, and then we'll get to carving. So the top of the head will be about right here. Start by taking off this corner, go about the same angle on this side, and then start to work it down. And keep that kind of curved down to the bottom of the tail here, and we'll round that out. And then I try to stay away from this darker wood that can get a little soft sometimes. So I'll actually take this a little tighter there, and then round that around, and bring this bottom of the tail up and leave about 2 inches or so here, and try to end this cut below where this cut comes in. And then with these cuts, just make sure that you keep your bar straight towards the back. You don't want it angled one way or the other. Just try to cut straight into the wood all the way around. Now we'll come over to this side. And from about the middle here, we'll do about a 45-degree angle down. That'll be the front of the face. And then we'll round out the back of the head. Then we'll come around to the other side. We want the middle of the back to be about here. So we'll bring this in a little bit there and take off that there. And then start to round these corners off. And as you probably saw in those cuts, you just want to use the tip of the bar and only go deep enough to meet up with this cut here. And then just take that piece out. And then the same on this side. You don't want to go too deep there because then you'll cut into the base. So just deep enough to meet up with the bottom of the tail. Now we'll start to shape out the face. So we want the middle of the face to be about there. Beak around here. So we're gonna make some roughly 45 degree cuts back on each side, leaving this will be where the two cuts meet up from each side. And then the bottom of the cuts will be around here. So we'll kind of come up on each side. Now we'll just work on rounding out these sharp corners, taking this down a little more, making it round around to the back. Then we'll do the same thing on the back side of the head. So you want to take this sharp corner off and just round it around to here. So at this point it should look like this. We got two flat sides to the face, angled slightly back. And then we're rounded all the way around to the back. And rounded around the back of the head. Shouldn't be any sharp corners anywhere. And then you just want it to be flat all the way around the base here. So next we're going to start to carve in the shape of the wings. So right here, that'll separate the tail. This will be the bottom wing feathers. And here will be the upper wing feathers. And we'll take some out here just to give it some shape where you can see the head from the body. Alright, so this is how that should all come out. You just want to take little bits at a time, going upward with your saw, making sure you stop at your line here and here. Now we're going to start to carve the base and the feet. So instead of this being flat, we're going to make it all a slightly upward angle into the bottom line here of the belly. Okay, now for the feet, we'll take this whole base down about 1/4 inch, leaving this part and this part. So you'll just come in from the side with your saw, leaving the tip of it right along here. So this is what you'll be left with after that. So next we'll start to shape out the face. We'll use our die grinder with this flare bit. And we'll want to leave everything where the beak is here and take out some circular portions on each side. All right, then next we'll come in underneath the beak here with the die grinder and take out this portion and then work our way around each side of the face, shaping out the feathers that will be on the face. We'll come down to a bit of a V here and then circle around and meet up on each side. here's how it looks after that. As you saw, after I take the die grinder through here, you want to shave this bit off so that it flows into the head, and leave this edge sharp. So next, we'll use our eye cutting bit. And I like to put the eyes fairly close to the beak and straight out. So we'll center them about there and there. So here's how we look after that. As that cuts, it cuts the outside of the eye first. And you want to keep going deeper until the middle of the eye is rounded as well. All right, so next we're going to use our Dremel with the small Saburrtooth bit. And we'll start to shape out the beak a little bit more, taking these sharp corners off. So kind of like the face, we'll leave this middle and angle back from the middle. Then we'll take off these corners that the eye tool left on the bottom. We'll leave the top alone. And then we'll start to push a little deeper under these feathers here around the bottom of the face. Okay, now with that same bit, we'll start to shape out the individual toes. So I like to do 3 toes. So we'll use this as the edge of the first. Cut back here. This will be the second. Cut back here, and then take off whatever is left over here. Okay, now using that same bit, I like the middle toe to be the longest, so we'll make this one a little shorter and this one, and then we'll cut in between the belly feathers and the toes as well. And when you're cutting in between the toes, you want to make sure you come down just as far as the base so that it meets up flush with the base. All right, and as you saw me do there, you can push this underneath the toes to give them a little bit more definition from the base. All right, now we'll use that same bit to start to shape out the tail a little bit more. So we'll take this off here and bring it in maybe 1/4 inch so that the shape of the tail is more like that. The same on the other side. All right, now we'll switch to the cone-shaped bit on the Dremel. And we'll use that to shape out the beak. So we come up maybe a 1/2 inch and round that down to right where the beak meets the feathers here on both sides. And then we'll use that to put some eyelids over the eyes, starting about here and pulling it back around and then coming out there. We'll do that on both sides. All right, now we'll use that same bit to put some pupils in the eyes. So what you'll do is just push it straight in until the full bit is into the wood, and that'll give you a nice circle. And you just want to make sure that you put them in the exact same spot on each eye. So that's how the eyes should come out. Then we'll use that same bit to push underneath the toes and separate those a little more from the base. Alright, now we'll go back to the chainsaw with the dime tip bar and start to put in some feather detail here. So we'll use the tip of the bar and just drag it along each of these lines, carving out the feathers. And we'll do that all along these feathers, the upper wing, and then the tail. And we'll continue with that all the way around until we get about right here, which is where the front of the wing will be. When you're carving feathers like this, you want to keep your chainsaw at a very shallow angle. You don't want it tipped in like that. You want it almost flat on the surface and go about just the chain's depth into each one. Now we'll use that same saw to come through here and push that corner in a little bit more, give that a little more definition. Then we'll start to put in the head and body feathers. And to do that, I just kind of do a random zigzag as I go down and work my way around like that. I want to bring those all the way down to the tops of these top wing feathers. And then work our way around, starting here, bringing them down to here. And as we come around here, we'll leave the wing and just do that same zigzag all the way down the belly as we work our way around. All right, now we'll carve a little bit more detail in the feathers of the face, starting at the outside and just tapering it off as it comes towards the middle of the face, and changing the angle as it comes around like that. that's it for the carving portion. Sometimes I'll add a little bit more grooves up here, kind of like eyebrows. Gives it a little more personality. After that, I'll take my torch and just go over the whole carving just to burn off the little fuzzies left behind by the chainsaw. And this wood is still a little bit damp, so it just helps with the next step, which is sanding. That's about how much you want to hit it with the torch. You don't need to really burn it, just enough to singe off the little fibers and dry out the surface of the wood. Then for the sanding, I use a flap sander. This is made by Sando Flex. If you don't have one of these, you can just use regular sandpaper. This just makes it a little easier to get into all the grooves, and it makes it faster. That's how it looks after sanding. Now you can sometimes just seal it like this if you like the natural wood look, or you can go on to paint and stain it. Today we're going to be using an airbrush to apply some stain. So this is the airbrush that I use. It's an Iwata Eclipse, I believe. This one's getting pretty old, but it still does a good job. And then a little compressor. I think that's California Air Tools makes that, nice and quiet. All right, guys, that is it. He is all finished up, ready for some sealer. Let me know in the comments if you got any questions, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks again for watching. Have a good one.